on another episode of the K-Swap 240 presented by Turn 14 Distribution.
We get started on the cooling system with this Koyo-Rad, which I think means I'm rad. Pete's holding hoses, so I guess that makes him a hoser. I guess since I proclaimed myself rad and Pete a hoser, I'm gonna actually have to do some work here, install this radiator. This is a Koyo-Rad HH series dual pass 48 mil core cooler, and it's meant to be a direct fit into the S13 and S14.
And it will be.
Designed for an SR20, by the way, not for a K24, but we're gonna make it work anyway.
I think that's where I'm gonna have to bust out my hoserness.
Yes.
And figure out how to route these hoses.
Yes, that'll be the real job. Actually, before I plop this in here, maybe I'll just touch on a couple of key design elements here that you can see up top. This being a dual pass radiator, they're more difficult to bleed the air out of, so Koyo's included this bleed port on top here to help with that process,
cool.
which is nice. Oh, this is part of their N-flow design, which is what turns it into a dual pass radiator. And the N-flow means that they've actually put a partition in the, you can see there's a partition in the top tank here where that weld line is, and another one in the bottom tank where this weld line down here is. And that, that partition creates like an N-shape or U-shaped flow path for the coolant to travel through the radiator. And that apparently improves cooling efficiency throughout the core and also keeps the coolant in the core for a longer period of time, which really helps with cooling in radiators that have stuff in front of them, like intercoolers that you would have on an S13 or S14, SR20 motor.
SR life, yeah.
They've designed it to keep the coolant in the rad longer to help with cooling in that application. So certainly won't hurt us here, especially when we go boost. I keep talking about going boost, Peter. I'm impatient. I want to get the boost in here.
Let's just get this car running first.
We've got these Lee custom rad brackets, finger tight. Who's a fan of ours actually sent these to us, li/customs.com if you want some rad brackets. It's also interesting reading this.
Yeah, I was blown away by that.
This like stop, read before installing sheet from Koyo-Rad, where they specify you must put coolant in the radiator, not just water, and not just water plus like water wetter.
Water wetter, yeah.
They want coolant in here because otherwise apparently the aluminum core will corrode without some coolant in it. So interesting to read that. I've never come across that before. We should also mention that we got the optional rad cap from Koyo-Rad. This is, I think, what they call their hyper cap. It's rated to 1.3 bar of pressure, which raises the boiling point of water, which is never a bad thing. It's also made in Japan, Peter. This is true JDM right here. You got some legit JDM going on your S14. So I'll put that on there ceremoniously. And now it's really your turn to be a hoser.
Now to figure out our coolant hose situation here, I have armed myself with an absolute arsenal of coolant hoses. This is my hoard of coolant hoses from all types of vehicles that we've done in the past. I've also gotten some vibrant hoses that may, and some adapters and whatnot, that may come in very handy for this job. I had a look at this a couple days ago just to kind of get an idea of what we're doing, and the small little difficulty again is we're dealing with different diameters in terms of sizes for the fittings. So the Honda fitting, this is off of the K-Tune thermostat, is I think a 26 millimeter size. So it is too loose in the SR hose, which I think is a 30. So there may be a little bit of stepping down to do. We may be able to use the S2000 one. I thought about this and I said, you know what? The S2000 one is like a really long rad hose. So I actually yanked this off of our S2000 and let's see how this would fit here. See let's see if this were to go around like that. Would you look at that, man?
Wow, the length actually looks pretty darn good.
That would almost go. See, this is the.
Yeah, you should be able to squeeze it on there.
I could squeeze it on there. That.
Wow. That's pretty
see, the issue is here.
It's a little short.
It's a little short. So if we have a intake coming off here.
Oh, true.
And it's gonna run this way.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a problem. So what I was thinking of doing is using the SR rad hose, because it dips down. And now if we kind of figure out how to connect the S2000 one here, that could work really well.
Now you're thinking, PT.
All right, that hose is on there. And see, I don't like the way it's folding in here, DP.
Yeah, it's kind of pinching there.
It is, yeah. And the more I need to, like, ideally, see if we get this to here, then this has a nasty kink.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, all the other hoses I have do not fit and route the way I want them to. So that option is out. What we're thinking of doing here is, if we just cut off this little transition here, we may have a much nicer route to go that way. So in the sake of getting the K-Swap 240 running, the S2000 is going to sacrifice its hose here. And see, these shears, they can't make the full cut. They're not meant for this, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
A multi-shear job.
Oh. Actually, I should have probably used a razor blade. We'll get a cleaner cut. I'm gonna have to clean this up. I'm not gonna be able to leave it like this, Dave.
Oh yeah, it's a little chewy, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Clean her up.
Would have thought not using a tool.
Thought a professional hoser like you would know better, but.
Yeah, well, I never claimed I was a professional. All right, let's see here. So let's say that goes on there. Okay, now we don't really have,
That kink is
that
gone.
kink is gone.
Yeah.
So we're good. Oh man, I wish this had just like the slightest little jog, but you know what?
Pretty close.
This to me is good, man.
Yeah.
I think we're, this should work. And here's the deal. Vibrant makes these, I think they're called aluminum joiners. And they are exactly for the purpose that I need them for right here. Except they were on back order for the 1 1/4. So this is 1.5 mil. And
1.5 inch.
I'm sorry, yeah, that would have been
diameter,
small.
yeah.
Like
1.5 mil would be like a straw.
tiny.
A straw.
Right. So I think I can get it in on this side, but there's no chance that I'm gonna fit it in on the
S2000 side.
yeah, the other 30 or 26 mil end, right? I went metal bin diving and found myself a 1 1/4 size pipe, and I cut it just to fit into the S2000 side coolant hose. And I was just about to start joining this when I thought, you know what? What about that hose from the other side of the
Oh, the part we cut
S2000
off?
that we cut off? Was
Yeah.
this gonna work?
Man, that would be a
And
miracle.
watch this. Holy smokes.
That's genius.
I think we've got this done with one hose, just having to cut it. So now we know you can use the S2000 upper coolant hose on this setup. Now it's time to move to the bottom, and I don't even want to say this name in fear of Homeland Security coming after me here. But so these poor guys, ISIS Performance is now ISR Performance. I've had these hoses kicking around in my bin for a long time. These are SR20 S14 hoses. This is the Mishimoto one, but for some reason these ISIS ones are just a smaller size, just slightly, where I tried to fit them onto the lower thermostat housing on the K-tuned one, and it fits so much nicer. So what I'm gonna do here is kind of like, the routing is way off in this area, but I'm thinking if I chop this here and rotate it this way, then all we have to do is have a jog of a pipe running and then a 90-degree coupler there. This time around, I'm using a little razor blade instead of our big shear cutters there. I think with a nice, sharp, brand spanking new blade, this will cut. See, this is certainly the way to do it. Just don't cut your finger off.
Can we get 15 more minutes of this, Pete?
No. Where's the SpongeBob 2 hours later?
2 hours later.
Here we go.
It's a cleaner cut, Pete, but I got gray hair during that process.
I know, and it's not exactly perfect, but it'll do. So let's rotate this thing. Let's see how my hose will look now. If I rotate it like that. Now we got a somewhat of a straight shot over where it needs to go. Now I thought after cutting the SR coolant hose that we'd get the right angle to just blast it down to the lower outlet on the radiator, but as you can see, it's not exactly a 90-degree bend, and I'm trying to keep this kind of clean because I want to use an aluminum transition pipe. So I dug into our Vibrant pile here and pulled out one of their 1 1/4 90-degree silicone hose bends, and I think it'll work much better and be cleaner. Now I've got to determine the option here of whether I want to run a nice piece of 1 1/4 inch straight tube here, or do I use another Vibrant coupler and just join all these together? What do you think, DP?
I don't know, man. That's a good question.
I kind of like the metal tube because I was thinking if I use the tube, I can build a couple of brackets that would secure it to the fan shroud or the rad, and that way it'll support this. Unfortunately, I also, this is becoming a rather annoying theme, but I forgot to order another 90 1 1/4 inch hose coupler. So this is just here for mocking purposes, but this will get replaced with another Vibrant 90-degree coupler there. I feel like I'm quickly becoming a wizard at cutting hoses straight. The green tape is definitely a must. And then this little back and forth seesaw motion cuts it and keeps it pretty straight. Oh no, look it was so perfect, and then, oh, well, 99%, but I think that's a pretty
cut.
Straight, clean cut.
That's
so
a good cut.
There's a somewhat pro tip on how to cut these. I think this looks like it was the right choice, but it definitely has a lot of play in it. So what I'm thinking of doing is just taking an aluminum tab and drilling a hole on the back side of it, and then just welding it onto the pipe here.
Not bad, PT, not bad.
Yeah, well, at the end there, look at the glob.
Oh.
I literally like just went straight into the rod. Wow. But I think this should be good. It's nice and hot right now. Once I clean it up, I'll show you, but I think got ourselves, oh.
Well, look good, man.
Yeah, they're not bad. They need prettying, but
Yeah.
function-wise,
Yeah.
I think we're good. I just have to drill a hole here, but I'm not going to do that until I get the fan shroud because I don't recall how it mounts up exactly.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna drill that, but I think you get a good idea of how that's gonna bolt on there. It's a couple days later, and I do have the missing pieces to the coolant system that I was waiting for. These are the Vibrant 1 1/4 couplers that I can now replace my dummy 1 1/4 pipe with on the top cooling hose here. And these really are ideal for the application of making coolant hoses work. Look at that. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that afterwards. But the bottom of the coolant hose, I needed a 90, which I sourced as well. So I've cut that down to size. It's ready to go on. Let's see how it fits here. So we've got our 90 coming out, and we'll use the fitting or the coupler again on this side. So that is ready to go as well. And I know some of you were gonna chirp me about this, And that is, there's no actual bead on the aluminum pipe. So I went and did my best job of laying down some aluminum on both ends to make that work. And I think it should seal up properly. So, with that being said, I think we can officially call this cooling system donezo. So thank you as always for watching. Hit the thumbs up, notification button, give us a comment as to what you think of this video and the other ones, and how our channel's doing. Tell us what you think. And if you're looking to buy some merchandise, go check out speedacademy.shop, or if you want some Go Fast parts, you can get them there too. On this side, to mate my ISIS hose with
ISR.
Yes, if you're buying them now, they're ISR. So we'll just refer to them as ISRs from here on out.